because I just feel like it would make life so much more cozy, especially when we're getting into winter. If we had a fire right here, and it'd be really good on there. I started looking at fireplaces on Amazon, and not only can you not really tell dimensions, like depth very well, I think, yeah.
Go Lowe's.
Also, the ones that I liked were like $2,000 on Amazon and would only be here in the next like 3 months. So I'd say Lowe's is probably a better option.
It might be worth $2,000. You get the
I
right
don't know.
one.
Well, let's go to Lowe's or something and look. We've also got to make sure that this rug will still fit, if that's the case. But part 2.
Well, they make them something on the wall too. I don't know.
That's what we're thinking about. I feel like the stone one would be cozier though.
Potentially.
And do something with that outlet.
Yeah.
Part 2 of what is shunning and what is a good reason for shunning people.
Is there a good reason?
Well, in theory. But you woke up angry this morning.
Oh no!
You were telling me.
This is what I get.
Well, you said you wanted to bring it up on the podcast, so I'm bringing it up on the podcast. Why did you wake up angry this morning, Tess? We got like a pretty decent amount of sleep last night.
Because well, I woke up angry at my family this morning. That's what happened. I started realizing we have family visiting soon, which always is a mess.
Yeah.
Maybe especially for me. I don't know. I don't know why, especially me, but it seems to be the case.
Yeah.
And we just watched an episode of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, where she
the most relatable show in the world.
For us,
for
apparently. Very relatable.
Very relatable. If you haven't seen Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix, go watch Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It is about someone who has been underground in a bunker, having been captured by a religious leader and kept there for 15 years, told that the end of the world had come. And when she is rescued, she has to figure out how to live in the world that actually exists instead of turning the crank for the Reverend, which is both an innuendo and not an innuendo. And assuming that everyone you knew is dead and has gone to heck.
That's right. There's no swearing.
So, very relatable.
Why didn't we call hell heck?
We didn't call hell heck in my growing up. We called hell hell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But no, it's considered a bad word more in like the outside media, from what I can tell, because people will like tell each other to go to hell, and it seems nicer to tell them to go to heck. But we weren't allowed to do anything that could be construed as swearing. So like you couldn't say heck, you couldn't say
heck
shucks.
Definitely on the fence.
Because shucks was for shit. You couldn't say geez because that was actually short for Jesus Christ, and you were taking the Lord's name in vain. You couldn't say, well, we used to say rats when I was small. We like rats. But then, when I was a little bit older, we realized that it could be used in all the same ways that you could use shit.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't say that anymore.
Yeah.
Anything that could
Christian
be
swear words.
Yeah, even Christian swear words weren't okay.
Yeah. I wasn't supposed to use them, but everybody did, so it was like one of those weird gray areas in my world where like, yeah, you probably shouldn't, but we all do it anyways.
Yeah, so in mine, there's this, I can't not remember the reference for this, but you're not supposed to swear in the Bible. So not only was it don't use swear words or don't use Christian swear words, but I was president of my homeschool student council, and they were swearing us in. And they were supposed to read the list of vows, and at the end, you were supposed to say, oh, it's, don't swear on anything, but let your yes be yes and your no be no. That's the verse, but I still can't remember the reference. But anyways, they did this whole long list of vows that you were supposed to do, and at the end, the officers getting sworn in were supposed to say, I do so swear. And most of them were, like, really goofy about it, and they were like, I do so swear. And it was hilarious and adorable for them, but for me, I had been thinking about it for so long, and they asked, and I'm supposed to say, I do so swear, but I can't swear. So I said, yes. And they were like, no, do you swear? And I'm like, yes. And they did it and did it and did it. Like, it felt like forever. They kept repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating until I did say, I do so swear. And I felt so guilty. I had to go to people, like elders in the church that I trusted, and be like, they made me do this, and I didn't want to, and I don't know what to do now, and I probably lost my salvation, because I was more Arminian than Calvinist at that point in time, so I was like, I gotta ask Jesus to forgive me all over again.
We're gonna have to talk about Arminianism and Calvinism at some point, because so many people have no idea what that is.
Oh yeah, I did a short on Calvinism.
Wow. Okay.
It's on my YouTube and my TikTok, but
it's so funny. It was like so important in my life for so many years, and now nobody I know has any idea what Calvinism and Arminianism are.
Yeah.
And
it's so funny.
Anyway.
I posted this thing about tulip, like the tenets of Calvinism, and I got a comment on it. The first comment I got on it was this dude being like, well, I mean, that's technically what the tenets are, but I don't see, are you trying to give like an alternative to Calvinism? No, hun, I'm explaining what they are, because it's fucking weird. And the fact that you want me to give an alternative to it is even weirder.
Even weirder.
Total tangent.
Yep, but I want to say one more thing about the swearing thing, because it's such a good example of letter of the law versus spirit of the law.
Oh God.
And
keep going.
I only want to say it because it's one of the few things in the Bible that I still think is pretty well thought. Like, it's one of the few statements that I've taken out of my church experience where I'm like, I'm not mad that I thought about that hard. Like, because I also thought about that one pretty hard. The let your yes be yes and your no be no thing. And, like, that's a pretty good rule, general rule to live by, right?
It is,
Let your yes be yes and your no. Like, that's pretty good advice.
Well, and it's something I still do.
Yeah,
like,
same.
If I can't do something, I'm not gonna say that I can't. It's not that hard.
And that's what I mean. Like, when you live in the spirit of, you know, that thought process, it's a good idea, generally speaking. Let your yes be yes and your no no, and don't over promise things.
Yeah.
Very good idea. Don't over promise things.
Don't over promise, and don't go back and do something that you said you couldn't do.
Right, yeah. But at the same time, in our world, like, your story is a great example of how why we lived in a cult and what made it a cult. It was like having to take these things so literally that you parse them to the nth degree. Because we did that with everything.
Well, what else are you
and
going to do?
And your parents did it with everything.
Yeah.
Right. Gotta do something with our time.
Do it out of order. I played the same Uno game 15 times in a row. I'm done.
Can't even listen to Coldplay.
You know they're cold because they don't have Jesus in their hearts. That means they're dead inside, right? Anyways.
It's a good example of the difference between you be like a human being able to read that verse and be like, oh, that's good advice. Let your yes be yes and your no no, and don't overpromise things. Versus, this is what I believe, and I have to do it right, and if I just mess up on this one thing, I have to go talk to elders and a pastor and feel guilt and shame, and right? Like, it's such a different experience than it needs to be, right? Like, it's crazy. Sorry, anyway.
No,
I know we're in a rabbit hole deep, but...
That's okay. This is just an excuse for us to do the rabbit holes. For people to listen to the rabbit holes. Not that anybody will listen.
Unlikely.
That's okay. promise that eventually we will go into something helpful instead of just trauma dumping. At least that's the goal. But you woke up mad.
Oh man, yeah.
At your family.
How did we get there? I don't even remember.
Well, you told me this morning that when we recorded today, you had an idea about what is shunned and what would be a good reason for shunning because you woke up angry at your family. And then we went down a rabbit hole from there about what is angry versus what is mad. Because in your family, you were never allowed to say that you were angry.
Excuse me. Oh, yeah.
So we had a whole rabbit hole about how anger is an actual emotion.
Not on the podcast. Me and you talking earlier
Yes.
had a rabbit hole.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's how we got here.
That's how we got here. That is how we got here. But yeah, well, because this morning I woke up really having, Kimmy Schmidt is also how we got here.
Yes.
Having this realization, because Kimmy Schmidt on that episode we watched last night was angry at her mom for not being there and for
not looking for her until she found her.
Yeah, and then was like going to go confront her and tell her all the emotions and thoughts that she'd had over the years, and then she kind of did and kind of didn't, but you can go watch that episode if you want to know more about that. But that was all in my head, and then and family coming this week was also in my head, and then I started just realizing how angry I was about the whole being shunned thing. Like, I wasn't thinking about podcasts. I was just like thinking about how my family has decided that, or I don't even know if decided is the right word. Their lives have determined that that who I am is unacceptable, and how when last time I talked to my mom, we had a moment where she was like, "Can you just explain it to me?" Like, explain
leaving
everything.
the church and being transgender and still being married and raising our kids not in the church and
and in that moment, like, I knew I'd tried to explain it to her multiple times. You know, those coffee and phone conversations I mentioned previously. I'd gone through trying to explain to her in great detail, to be clear, both from a historical timeline of my life perspective, from trying to help her understand from even a little bit of a biblical perspective, trying to point things out from her point of view as much as I could. Like, I tried hard to explain, right? And now we're post all of those conversations, having this conversations, and she's just like, "Can't you just explain it to me?" And and that moment I was like, I don't think I can. I'm.
If you don't think what I've been doing is explaining, then I don't see
that's what I should have said.
Can explain.
Yeah, that's probably what I should have said. But what I said was, "No, I don't think I can." And she's like, "Well, that seems like a red flag." And I'm like, "Okay, well, that's not going to make me try and explain harder right now, just because you say it's a red flag." My point is, you're not going to understand no matter what I do to try to explain, right? And that conversation, there were more things said of where she was just like, "Well, I want to walk with you on this path and that you're on it." And then after she said that, she was like, "Can I call you T?" And I'm like, "Would that be better?" And from her point of view, she's trying to meet me. I assume from her point of view, she's trying to meet me halfway, right? By doing that. It's not even half the name. But anyway, excuse me. But and from my point of view, like it's so far from halfway. It's like maybe not even a step, right? And so I'm just like, whatever. I don't know, whatever. Maybe I think I pretty much said whatever is actually what I said. Like, and but again, and so this morning, to bring it back to there, I was just like thinking back through all of that and thinking about how I tried to explain it to her before, and um, and just realizing the reality that all of the things I have done or could do really aren't going to rebuild that bridge that got burned. Right? I can't rebuild it. Like, or I at least not by myself.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing I can do to rebuild it, and that what I and the thing that really got me was that like how we got to having these unfixable, at least as far as I know now, burned bridges, is that according to my family, I'm living an immoral life. And ironically, how I got to the point where I'm living this so-called immoral life is by starting to see, like we were talking about in the last episode, starting to see the problems in in the cult, in that religious world, starting to see the holes, starting to see how even though they talked about living righteously and living purely and living holy and only supporting people and things that do, they were all voting for Donald Trump, right? That was one of the first bricks that fell for me, was both of us really, was this seeing this huge support amongst our family, amongst the churches we were part of, for this man who was doing what we considered at the time, and they still consider, to be blatantly immoral things.
Yeah, the antithesis of everything they told us we should support.
Yeah, and they were supporting this. And I mean, and things, I mean, to this day, I still think are very, very wrong things to do, obviously.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed for me. But, and so seeing them support this person who's doing the immoral things they always told me should never happen. And again, still agree with that particular thought process.
Yeah.
There are some things that are immoral and wrong. But and then realizing this morning again that just that weird, that it's a weird, strange, crazy thing that they're willing to support that human who's doing those things, and yet me, their child or family, living my life the best I can as me, they can't support that, right? They can't even take that little baby step
Yeah.
towards meeting me halfway, right?
Well,
even though maybe in their mind it's meeting me halfway, but like from my point of view, that little bit, they can't even do that.
Well, and even when you dissect it, they think that you being born to them wearing makeup is more offensive to God than a man who is a serial rapist.
Yeah.
They think that you, in a relationship for 15 something years, raising your children, not going to Sunday school, is worse and more immoral than a man who has gotten various divorces and this week said that he's pretty sure he's not going to heaven.
Right.
They're pretty sure that you taking a shot of estrogen or doing gender affirming care, or me making it so I am no longer able to have Jesus babies.
You had plenty.
I had plenty. I had plenty. God, I had plenty. But making those changes to our life is far more disappointing to God than filling the highest office in the country with gold and marble and tear gassing people who try to stand up for their neighbors.
Yeah. It's just, it's sad to me. I mean, it made me mad. I mean, it's still mad. It makes me mad.
Yeah.
Like it's and like how they. I mean, and I kind of get that. Like, yeah, we're closer to them, right? They don't. We're not. Trump isn't related to them, but so they like feel that pain more strongly, right? When it's us leaving or us doing the things that they think is wrong.
Yeah.
Right, but they don't see, so they feel that, but they don't see that crazy split in how they're showing more support to that man who, again, they're not related to, who is far away from them in a literal sense, right? But then they will to their own family, who is just doing their best to be themselves. And like it's a crazy, like it's one of those things that like I feel like it has where you're like, well, it was one of those, I'll put it this way, it's one of those moments, and I've had a few of these lately, because a lot of times when I say I came out of a cult, it doesn't feel real, but moments like that, it's like, oh yeah. That's what it feels like to come out of a cult. It's moments like that where it's so, for lack of a better phrase, fucked up. It's so fucked up.
And in their view, that's not what's happening. In their view, this is a man who has done things bad, but is actually trying.
Right.
And they're going to support somebody trying, but they're not going to support someone who knew the truth and intentionally stepped away from it, because it's more righteous to shun us in the hopes that we will realize the error of our ways and come back.
Yeah.
Because in their view, they are not supporting sin. They're supporting a man who has sinned and is now trying his best. That's what they think.
That's what they think. Yeah.
They do still see what they're doing as righteous, and they will not change that.
Well, and
because they can't, because that would be unrighteous of them.
Yeah. Well, and when you said those three things that are required to get shunned, the first one was
being part of the community.
And Trump wasn't, right?
Yeah, you can't shun him because he wasn't part of the community.
Yeah, it's a oddly specific but accurate component.
Right.
To why my pastor got shunned, why I've been shunned, but Donald Trump hasn't been shunned, is that weird outsider thing where like they can't actually shun him because he was never part of the group somehow.
Right. But also the second part of that is you do have to sin. And the third part is you have to be unrepentant. But sinning is different for people who are in the cult versus people who are out of the cult. And Donald Trump technically sinned when he was out of the cult. So he didn't know better. And we do.
Right. Yeah. That's the thought process.
That's the thought process.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and we definitely know. I mean, there's no arguing about that. We know exactly what...
We know what is viewed as sin.
Yes. No question about that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the part where I have here steers is also viewed as sin in some of the communities I grew up in. The part where I'm wearing jeans is a sin in lots of the communities I grew up in.
Yeah.
The part where those jeans fit is a sin in every community I grew up in.
Yeah.
And the part where we are recording ourselves, which is vanity, is a sin in most of the places I grew up in. Whether or not they got televised or recorded, it's still a sin for me to do this.
Yeah.
But basically everything that you do at any point in time can be construed as a sin in a fundamentalist community.
Oh, for sure. It's not hard.
It's not hard.
Yeah. No, it's like... It's a mess.
Oh, interestingly, the part why jeans are considered a sin in some of the communities that I was involved in growing up is not because they're jeans. It's partially because they're trousers on a woman. But a bigger part is that they have a zipper.
Those damn zippers.
Zippers. Yeah, zippers are part of the vanity of the modern world. Because
You grew up in weird places, yeah.
God's will is more for buttons than zippers,
Mm-hmm.
which is why
You have to connect to the things
Most-
with round things,
that's right.
not
That's right.
a ziggurat shaped thing.
They fit together in ways that will make you think of unholy things.
Oh.
Also, they're new, which is bad. Also, they contribute to laziness because you don't have to learn how to sew appropriate buttonholes.
Oh.
Sewing appropriate buttonholes was a large part of my experience growing up. Can I tell you how fucking frustrating it is to try to figure out how to work the buttonhole function on a sewing machine? Sewing machines were also vanity and sinful in some of those places, but
I feel like they did not take into account how many times it would make you use the word hole.
that's true. You're a sinful person and I'm ashamed of you. But yes, buttonholes. They do still make jeans without zippers.
Holy buttonholes. Jeans without zippers! I own some jeans without zippers.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with,
You just button them up instead. It's more holy.
No, they don't. Mine don't even have a button, though. Like, they just have a waistband.
Okay,
You pull them
but may I point out, that is a mixed fabric.
Oh, boy. Mixed fabrics.
As I said, you're a sinner and I'm
There's an
ashamed
Old
of you.
Testament reference I hadn't thought about in a very long time.
No, mixed fabrics was still a thing that people were concerned about in a lot of my cults.
Makes the Walmart shopping trip difficult.
Yeah.
Lots of things do, but that would be another one.
Well, you're not supposed to go to Walmart because you might see tobacco.
Or magazine covers, or
That too.
alcohol. Not in Nebraska. But...
Actually, that's the first place I remember seeing alcohol in.
Oh,
Walmart.
where was it? It was Where did they not have?
Well, some parts of Colorado. Then Idaho, we had to go to specific places, Washington and Montana as well. But that I don't know how much of that was that they didn't sell them there, and how much of that was that we couldn't buy them there because we were in the religion.
Well, yeah, no,
But
I think it was
in
Colorado.
In Nebraska,
that was a big deal. It used to be a big deal
Yeah.
in Colorado. It's not anymore.
in Nebraska, we went to that Walmart and we found a $5 bottle of gin. That first time that we decided to try drinking.
That wasn't Walmart. That was a gas station.
No.
In
No,
Ainsworth.
the one I'm remembering is Walmart for sure.
Oh,
Because there were the
okay.
fluorescent lights that they couldn't afford at the gas station.
Okay.
I'm sure there was that one too. It was not good stuff.
Don't buy cheap gin.
That's how I found out I'm allergic to juniper.
Not super cheap. Like if it's less than $5, that's bad. Bad. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh my
You have
God.
to spend at least $10.
Please
I know.
spend more than $5 on a
At
handle of
least
gin.
$10. Learn from our mistakes.
It was bad. I had a rash. It was all rash. It was not good.
It didn't taste good either.
It did not taste good.
I'm not a big gin fan anyways, but maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
You
but
know, on the
some
bright
people love
side, that realization of my juniper allergy was a turning point for me in actually getting treatment for allergies. So, small miracles.
Learn from your mistakes.
Oh, God.
If you do buy a $5 bottle of gin,
And you
less
do
than
break
$5
out, please consider the potentiality that you may be allergic to juniper and or a variety of other shrubs.
and or everything outside. Anna's allergic to everything outside.
Not anymore. I get injections for that.
That's true. It helps. Things help.
Some things do help.
Be willing to do things that help.
But allergy rabbit hole and alcohol rabbit hole aside, and buttonhole rabbit hole aside, trekking back.
It's a long way back.
It's a long way back. But the part where they were more willing to take anything and everything that Donald Trump does, as opposed to what their literal children are doing, which is hurting no one that I know of. Can you think of anybody we're hurting?
Outside of them, no. And it's a very subjective hurting.
Very subjective experience of hurt.
Right. Like, because I would say we are hurting them.
Yeah.
At least from their perspective.
Yeah.
We are. But, it's not like that's our goal. It's not my goal.
Well, our goal is mostly honesty.
Yeah, well, that was...
Because we could have just, hidden everything and never told them.
Right. Yes.
Which would have been...
Which we did for a while.
Yeah. Well, and it would have
been... We literally
been
did do that for a while.
more merciful to just, do that forever.
Right.
Because I can think of some family members of ours / acquaintances of ours that have just hidden everything from the family to avoid hurting anyone.
Right.
But...
Well, that was our thought process.
They still know.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's just a way of preventing it from coming up in civilized conversation.
Yeah. And it just hurt us. Us not being honest about who we are for that, I don't know, 2-3 years, something. It's hard to put an exact time frame on it, but something like that.
Or being less than fully honest. But I feel like the bigger thing was not, we need to be honest with them. The bigger thing was, we need to not grow our children up in a household that glorifies dishonesty.
Oh,
because if we want them to know that we love them no matter what, we have to actually show that we're willing to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Or they will never be willing to be themselves in front of us.
Yeah. And we couldn't.
And it became more about the good of our children and less about the good of our extended family.
Right. And ourselves. I would say our children and ourselves.
Yeah, that's right.
We were not happy lying about it. I wasn't. I know I wasn't.
Yeah.
It was not good for me. Being in that weird state of, this is who I am. But, I think I always was, because I couldn't be honest with my extended family, it didn't feel real.
Yeah.
Somehow. It's kind of hard to explain, but that's how it felt to me. Until we came out, it kind of wasn't real to me. In some way. It was real, but in some way it wasn't. And it just felt, it was not good.
How much of that do you feel could be attributed to the part where your family was the only reality that actually existed growing up? As a member of a cult and as a homeschooling person, the extent of reality is what's inside the four walls of your home. And everything out there can be interpreted however the family decides to interpret it.
Yeah, that is a lot of it. I mean, and still trying to, in random situations where my family might be there, trying to, follow those same rules. And at least to a degree.
How does that look?
How did that look?
No, how does that look? Because he's...
I don't do that anymore.
Okay. It sounded like you were still trying to do that.
No. When we decided to come out, I was deciding to not do that anymore.
Right.
That was the thought process. I'm trying to do things still when my family's around in a way that is acceptable to them, to the degree that I can, based on where I'm at in this process. Right. Trying to wear different clothes and stuff. There's a reason. It got to the point it did. It was just.
You didn't have any clothes.
Not terrible. Eventually, it did get there. Yeah. Especially with me, it was there's so many outward things.
Yeah.
That are part of my change and transition and realization of who I am.
Yeah, I mean, when we went to your father's funeral, and you wore a suit jacket that was not deep black, lots of people had fits about it.
Right. I just wore a purple suit jacket.
Yeah.
A male purple suit jacket.
Still had a beard.
Did I still have a beard one at
Yeah.
the funeral? Wow.
I think you did.
I can't remember.
Me
I
neither.
feel like maybe I didn't at that point.
I don't know.
I'm really not sure.
Me
Either
neither.
way, I have no strong.
Me neither.
I can't remember if that was.
But the point was not
I
your
don't think
face,
I did.
though. The
I
point
think that was
your
post-beard.
suit jacket.
Right. Oh, for sure.
And they could not get over a non-black suit jacket.
Right. And that was just such a
before
simple
we were
thing.
out in any way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But because it was a non-black suit jacket, you know,
Right.
like you weren't
well, and
supposed to be a primary speaker at the funeral.
Right. Well, it's a yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, it's another good example though of like that not coming anywhere near remotely halfway, right? Like they couldn't even deal with the purple suit jacket, right? Like much less. I mean, good God, imagine if I'd worn a skirt, you know, like right? Like it's not even close to halfway.
I don't know. Stepping onto that campus, you might have burst into flames if you wore a skirt. We should try it.
We should try it. It'd be interesting. It's semi-likely to happen at some point.
The bursting into flames part?
Well, I don't know. I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. But
yeah, it's not meeting halfway if they can't deal with a color change,
right?
Let alone a gender change.
And yeah, well, and at that point, you know, we weren't out, and it was again like, even in that moment, I know I'm working really hard to come 99% of the way to your side, right?
Yep.
And they had no idea that I was doing that, really. You know, maybe an inkling, just because we weren't doing all of the church things at that point.
Yeah.
But so maybe they had an inkling, but either way, like I was doing a lot of work to just kind of show up in that way so that I felt semi-comfortable in myself.
Yeah. Well,
but mostly it was for them.
What they didn't see was the month of sobbing and trying so hard it took to get to that 2 hours. Yeah. What they saw was your suit jacket's the wrong color.
Right. Oh,
so,
for sure.
What they're seeing is, you want us to do so much work. You want us to change everything about ourselves. You want us to say that sin isn't sin. You want us to do this and us to do this and us to do this and us to do this. And what they're not seeing is how much it took for you to get to that point and for them to still be mad about the stupidest thing. We're at a funeral.
No, right, yeah.
And this is what you want to talk about?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then to even try and talk about other things, like, it's just, I mean, that's why coming out was such a big deal, right? Like, we did. And then, like, those coffee phone conversations, super awkward.
So awkward.
Just for the record. And
I've never been alone with your sister before that.
That's right. You met with my sister. Yeah. And I'll bet it was the same amount of awkward as when I met with her.
Probably.
I think I met with her twice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had several conversations with Mom on the phone. But again, like, even in those scenarios, you know, it was always there's always the understanding that from their perspective, I'm going to hell. Yeah. And you know, so long as that's a thing, the conversation is kind of moot, right? Like, I can't convince you any of this is okay. I can't help you understand why I got here, because you're just always going to say to yourself, why? You're going to go to hell. right? That's always going to be your response to anything I say about what I think and how I got here and why I am who I am. And, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say.
Yeah.
There's no surmounting that obstacle. And, like, even, like, people who aren't, like, so strong on the health thing, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's why you're giving up on heaven and eternity. So, okay, so maybe, maybe it's not damnation and burning in hell forever, but it's pretty much the same thing. You don't get to experience eternal bliss in hell forever, right? Even if you're not emphasizing the hell part, right? Like, it's basically the same thing. Like, you're not going to eternal bliss in eternity forever.
Yeah, it's still eternal bliss.
It's basically, right, which is basically just hell. So, same conversation, either way, as far as it works out for me. And why wouldn't you want that? What could you possibly, right? It's just like there's no, and so, like, in order to, I would have to talk them out of, which is, I don't think is possible or logical or anything else.
We took entire classes about how to not get talked out of what we believe.
Well, right. Well, you can't talk anybody out of what they believe.
No.
Like, that's not a thing that happens to humans.
No.
I think people do change what they believe. I mean, I know it. I did. I have changed what I believe. It happens. But, like, it was a really long, thoughtful process for me. Nobody was talking me into anything.
Yeah.
No one person. I couldn't point to any single person and say, that person changed my mind about what I believe, right? There's no way. I couldn't think of anybody. There's people that I listened to and who influenced, had an influence on thoughts that I have about what I believe and on the world, but it was
shout out to liturgists and almost heretical.
yeah, for sure, and but it was always, it was always, all of those things were just small pieces and something I was working through within myself, not somebody talking me into something, right? And if any of those people I had at any point thought were trying to just talk me into something, I would have stopped listening, right? I would just listen to somebody else who was just trying to be honest and thoughtful, right? Like, that's all you have. Nobody was, like, trying to make me a different person or make me be transgender, to be very specific. Nobody was trying to do that.
Can you say that into the camera again?
Nobody was trying to make me be transgender.
So she doesn't think that I made you transgender?
Nobody wanted to do that.
Because I'm pretty sure she's sure that I made you transgender.
I'm sure some people... Apparently it's a thought process that some people think other people make other people transgender. I don't know. It's not how it worked for me. That was entirely a me thing.
You were such a good Christian boy until
Yeah, no, I wasn't, just for the record. But I was good at pretending. I was pretty good at pretending. But I was good at pretending to be a boy in general. Good at it. I don't know. I don't know that I was really that good at it. I was actually probably not very good at it. I was good enough that people weren't. Never mind. I don't know if I can say that.
No, you were good enough that people were like, "Oh, he's trying."
That's just sad.
And he's a man. There's only so much we can expect. I'm sorry, I'm the butch one, Tess.
I'm very, very happy not being the butch one. Like, it's one of, like, every time I realize I don't have to be the butch one, because I just thought I had to be, right? Like, it was required. That's what I thought for so many years of my life. I had to be. I mean, I didn't think of it in terms of butch and femme at the time, but that's basically what it was.
Though.
I had to be butch. In my terminology now, I have to do the butch. What's the butch thing to do with this scenario? I I have to figure it out. That was the hardest part, was figuring it out, because I just didn't know automatically, right? Like, I don't know, like, apparently there's a set of things that are supposed to be done as the butch person in this scenario, and that's what I'm supposed to do. So I have to figure out what it is, and then convince myself that's what I want to do. I don't know, maybe that part was hard. I don't know, both parts were hard. All the parts were hard. And then do the thing that I had to convince myself to do. It's
there was a lot of crying.
Yeah. It's easier to just do things I don't want to do than it is to go through this weird process of what's the butch thing to do, and convincing myself to do the butch thing, and then doing, like, it's just easier to be like, yeah, I don't really want to do that, but I got it, and then do it, right? Like, that's a way easier thought process. And then whatever that is. But also, it's so nice now to just be like, you know, I don't have to do it just because it's butch. If it's just doing it to be butch, why would I do it? It's not a good enough reason to do something. I'm just going to not do it and do what I want to do instead. Granted, there's like butch things that are like part of life that you just do because,
like yard work.
Yeah, like yard work or whatever, and you just gotta do stuff sometimes. And that's just life. But to just do something to be butch about it, no, not doing that anymore.
You mean you don't want to be like our neighbor who intentionally dressed up in his army uniform to come over here?
Yeah. No.
To talk to us on the porch about maybe cutting a branch?
Yeah. No.
That was very intentionally butch.
For sure. You know, that's probably who that dude is.
Yeah,
that's good for him. Whatever.
He did change into army suit to come over to talk about that. But he also didn't know how to work a sawzall, so there's that.
Okay.
It's okay, I taught him, he's fine now.
Easiest tool in existence.
Easiest.
The hint is in the name. Saws. All.
It has a trigger. It's not hard.
Right. And then there's a saw and a button. I don't understand. Sorry. I mean, in all my butch pretending, I actually did learn a thing or two about how tools work. But.
That's so funny. That's still one of the more amusing things that's ever happened to me in the suburbs. Dude.
A saw? He really didn't know how to work a sawzall?
Yeah. Well, it's a lilac bush. And he's like, hey, it's breaking my fence. Can we maybe cut it? And I'm like, yeah, what parts do you want to cut? And he's like, you know how to do that? Yeah, I've got a sawzall. We can do it right now. And he's like, oh, we can? I've been wondering about this for years.
Okay,
so
I see.
We took out the sawzall, my sawzall, and went to the lilac bush. And he's like, I just don't want to hurt the tree. And I'm like, well, we can cut off this one, and that one very easily without hurting the lilac bush. It's not a tree. And he's like, wow, you really seem to know what you're doing. How?
That's funny.
Oh, you know, and maybe it's a result of my upbringing. But I don't understand how people can not know some very basic things. And of course that comes full circle when there's like some very basic things that I just don't know are options that just did not come up in the cult. But like as far as butch things go,
for sure, it works out.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is don't buy cheap gin.
I think that's a really good moral of the story, actually.
Yeah.
Do you think we could make gin out of lilacs? Because we did cut off those branches.
It might be a basic thing I should know, but I don't.
You can't actually. Gin is made out of juniper. It would never work. We could probably make a syrup, though.
You could make something similar, maybe. But not
Well, if you
gin.
just made a syrup and then let it ferment.
Yeah. Sure.
It's probably a bad plan.
Probably.